Hey, my name's John Wright, and the Holy Father has blessed me. I'm his actual son. I really didn't know what was going on in my life, and just like everything else, this shirt says it all. The little things, I'll tell you about them because I just don't have that conscience to not tell you about something. I'll just come out and straight up and tell you. My first wife was that same way too. And matter of fact, my wife could be outright rude to tell you the truth. And and it almost made me cringe to watch her do it too. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go. This is always unscripted. I never know what I'm going to say. But anyway, my first wife, she'd go and Kim and Barb Plurd was coming over to the house. And Barb had a child, and the child had, like a funny looking head or something. And it did, and the child did, but that's just how children are. But my wife, she'd go like this, and she wasn't my wife yet, but, well, that's just the beginning. And she goes, that baby's got a funny shaped head, in my sister's house. And I think Bonnie's sitting there, and she goes, that's, um, Barb's child, and Barb's right there. And Karina just looks over at Barb and says, well, somebody had to tell her. I mean, my first wife, she was like, as far as I'm concerned, she was a to-do girl. She lived up on top of the hill, and her dad worked for the school system. Actually, the handicap area, he took care of handicapped people. So I've been involved with handicapped people since I was in my 20s, being involved in that type of a situation. So, I know handicapped people. And I deal with a lot of handicapped people, and I deal with a lot of handicapped people and not handicapped people that are also acting like handicapped people in the bowling alleys. And I'll tell you, these here bowling alleys, they were actually taken over by a group of weirdos that would actually run everybody out of the bowling alleys, and they're actually criminals, and they're actually Republican Party people. Rebels, they were always rebels and stuff like this, and Jesus Christ, they were cutting from inside the business, undermining the management stuff that was running the business, like they were just undermining everything. And I do think that's what goes on in the United States of America right now. There's like all these here people that I've complained about in these here videos that works for the cities and stuff. These here people, they got these here jobs, and they got the luxury of being there, and they got the luxury of, they just do half their job. It's like the guy that comes in and picks up the garbage. You pick up the garbage all over the place in that area while you're there, not just at one can, just to drive out. And, and I don't blame them for having two people down there, and it's nice that they have a lift to lift the garbage can up on the top of the barrel, and I just don't have no problem with that either. You have two workers out there, but they're just that one can, and there's other cans there. You put it in the bags, you get it the fuck out of there, and you don't need to send other drivers in there. Now, if you're going to send a patrol down there to overlook the place, well, that's just fine, but let it be what it is. And another thing that's absolutely terrible is they've got the bathroom shut off, and they want to force everybody into one bathroom like they're all men or they're all women or we're all its. And we're not all its, and I guess they're not getting the idea. You know what? The Holy Father doesn't like people being treated wrong. And I'll tell you what, I am actually seeing it. And I wouldn't be surprised if something goddamn terrible happens. Goddamn terrible happens. And that's just what's going to be sad. Now, saying that, you know what? You don't want to abide by the Holy Father's rules and stuff. Hey, it's not my rules, it's his. I see what's wrong, and you know what? I'm going to probably be moving on pretty soon. Because another thing is, I met a woman the other day, and that woman came here, and she was actually sitting right here in this very spot, and I told you guys about her on the internet. And, a lot of good things has happened. My dog's been recovered. My little Sharia dog, I just want everybody to know that a group of people brought my Sharia dog up there, and they put it right up there where I was at. And when I came back up there from being on the beach, when I was down there doing my girlfriend's hearts and her name on the sand, somebody had went up there and put my Sharia dog up there. And I was really happy about that earlier. And I think it was, a group of ethnic people that did that. And I thought that was pretty something, because I seen like some people up there, and I was up there doing that on my hands and knees, working on the sand. What I did was I took my my little oaring stick and I oared it. Oh my gosh, did I lose it? No, I got it. Boy, I tell you, I get excited sometimes, but I'm not hot and excited. I lose things when I do that. It's up there where it belongs. I don't like getting stirred up because I can end up breaking something. And geez, anyway, I was down there and I did the hearts, and what I did was I cleaned up along the beach. I cleaned up the algae and stuff, whatever, the seaweed that grew up, that was up on the shoreline up under her name, and the hearts. And I just left our two hearts up there. I call our two hearts now. It's the heart that goes up and the heart that goes down, and I'll just say it's our hearts. I know what it is, and I know why I'm here. Absolutely, I believe that God put us together, and the proof's in the pudding, and time will tell. But, a lot of things has happened here, and I've been getting this here message to go to a mountain, and, I don't have no problem with moving to a mountain near a ski resort, and that's exactly what I was thinking about, was moving to a goddamn ski resort for the winter, man. I know how to ski a little bit. I'm not very fucking good on skis, but I'm better on snow skis than I am on water skis. I'll tell you that. You don't need no boat to I need a driver, I need this, I need that. No. You just go rent your skis and you go skiing. You want to rent your suit, you just go rent a suit, you go skiing. Jesus, I've been up the White Pass before. I know how that shit works. And let me tell you. But now the woman that was sitting here, she was telling me, she liked my RV. She says, wow, she goes, you've got the solar system up here. She goes, who did this? She goes, did you do this? And I said, I did this. Actually, it's really nothing. It wasn't really hard to do at all. I could show anybody how to do it. And the wiring's a little complicated, but god dang it, anybody could do it. I'm telling you, anybody could do it. So anyway, she came in here, and then she looked at my stuff, and she seen my website here in my little YouTube channel, and she started telling me about up north. And boy, I'll tell you, it's funny because I've been getting this message, like for the last couple weeks, go north up there, and I'm thinking, man, he wants, me and God often we conflict in our things. He's saying go north, and I'm thinking Cannon Beach, like my Canon fax machine. I'm thinking Cannon, because another thing, I got an attorney that's in Cannon Beach, Oregon. I know an attorney in Cannon Beach, Oregon, and he knows me pretty damn well too. And his name's Jeremy Randolph, and he was the prosecuting attorney that did the Shortridge murder, and he was my attorney too. And that's how I kept my family at base for all these years. And he's been my attorney in the past for many years, and then he retired when I caught wind of this, Jeremy Randolph. So I was thinking about giving Jeremy a visit down there in Cannon Beach, and I just let him in on the Holy Father and stuff, because me and him sat there across from each other, and he's sizing me up. And I've sized up a lot of people sitting across and I'd like to go see Jeremy Randolph, because after all this goddamn time, I think I'd like to see the guy that pointed a 30-30 at me in that courtroom and smile at him and tell him what I fucking think of him. You know, because he knew it was all a setup, and they were all goddamn involved. Right down to the Merwin case, when the Risingers, that's his family members that framed the Rifes, that they seen Rick Rife and them in the cars, and they framed them all. You see, they framed Rick Rife. I mean, that's the bitter end of I mean, I got the ins and outs of all that. You know, I don't give a fuck if Jerry killed these old people, and Patty and Jim, and I think that's how it went. I think Patty and Jim was both there. And you know what, they do what they do. You know, that's what Jim said. This is what we do. This is what I do, you know. This is what they do. They're Zodi phonies. They're Zodi phonies. So anyway, I don't really care, other than Rick Rife's in prison. And, you know, if you fessed up to things, and if you told the truth about everything, this how you guys were forced to comply, or many would die, you know. I mean, I believe it's the Fifth Amendment that basically is, you know, if you're caught, if you're in a situation where if you come forward, many people may die, you know, and you don't know who's dying next. Maybe it's your own family members, but for some reason, the essence is you got fucking a reason not to come forward, and it's not, and it supersedes your withholding evidence. It's because, hey, not just you could lose your life, other people around you that could love you, that you love, could lose your life. So that there's, you know, where you can get some relief on that one. But everybody likes somebody that tells the truth at the end of the day, you know, because that's what makes them a true champion. And don't you love me now, Ernie Toback? You know, I might have just bought this here, you know, for $500 just to have as a little plaque like this. But you know what? I knew I was going to be the goddamn title holder anyway, Ernie, to be honest with you. Isn't that funny? And that's why I did it. And I bought that little red one right there. It was a little sucker one. Wasn't that funny when I did the Ernie's ladder, and I climbed up on it, and I had the one covered. I opened it up, and I have this championship belt on that's red. I just love that, you know. And climbing Ernie's ladder, and I built this bowling alley, and gosh, you know, my family must have been, Jesus Christ, he's got a bowling alley on wheels over there. I made it look bigger than life. I told my sister, I said, well, there's Space Mountain. And she goes, where? And I go, right over there. And what I was telling her is, I'm Space Mountain, Bonnie, and I'm standing right here before your very fucking eyes. I mean, what can I say except, oh. You know, I do things in the funniest way, like giving Jerry $1,000 in a Wheaties box. But that's nor here nor there. I knew Jerry wasn't going to give me back the $1,000. And, you know, I had to write it off. Jesus Christ, I had to write it off one way or another. Jesus. Here, I already had sex with his wife, and they set me up to have sex with his wife. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's just the way that it is. And then everybody else was screwing her. I might as well have a turn too, like a doorknob. Oh, did I say that? Oop. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm so terrible. So anyway, I've got 1,000 of them. No, 2,000 of them. No, 3,000 of them. No. 6,000 of them. No, 12,000 of them. No, 18,000 of them. No, 666. 666,000 of them. Yeah. No. I could just go on and on and on. Isn't this fun now? Well, you know what? God Almighty will give me every trick in the book when it comes out to nailing somebody. If I'm ever put on the spot in the court of law and stuff like that, God will give me a fucking loophole to pull out, because I pulled that loophole out in front of people, and I've outsmarted attorneys even. Matter of fact, this time I was up at Stevenson, and I love that little town. It's just east of Camas, and I was thinking about moving up that way because I like Stevenson. I won a big court case up there for not just me, but for everybody that was in that courtroom that day. And I got a ticket over there at Beacon Rock, and the ticket was for whatever it was, like $100 and some, because I didn't have a slip on my dash that said that I paid $10 to be there, or a permit, discovery permit to be there. So anyway, they gave me a ticket, and I claimed that I had a ticket. It was in the car, and it fell on the floor in the wind. I had my top off my Corvette. My Corvette, just so happens, my Corvette's called Casper. Casper's white, and it's a ghost. That's what I mean. Casper's a friendly ghost, by the way. And Casper will come up after you at 147 miles an hour or faster. And Casper will fucking just sneak up on you, and you'll go, "What was that?" And Casper just ran past you. Well, I flipped past cars so fast in Casper before that Casper almost left the ground and went helicopter on me down there by Longview one day. And I found out you don't drive Casper over 147 miles an hour with the headlights flipped up, because if you do such a thing, that car will become airborne. And that's exactly what happened. The back end lifted up, and it started going helicopter around me behind it. And I turned my wheels, and I dollied out of it, and I kept my foot on the gas. And when I come back down, and boy, I'll tell you what, if I didn't do the right moves at the right time, that thing would have been fucking all over the place. It would have been like the $6 Million Man in the show, where you see the rocket just go. Yes, we can rebuild them. We can make them better, faster, stronger. I was raised on the $6 Million Man. I really was, too. And to me, I could run right through a brick fucking wall. I mean, in my mind. And when I was a little kid, I was held in a cage in Port Angeles, Washington. I got to be taken out. I remember going out and seeing Hogan's Heroes and my family wandering around, running around doing their shit like they were part of the show. In their minds, they're in POW camp. I mean, that's exactly what I believe that they are, and they think that they're in a German POW camp too. And by the way that their mother and dad raised them, I was being held in a cage in Port Angeles. So, I've had things that's gone on. But now over there in Stevenson, I like Stevenson, and I went up there and I had a court case, and I got a ticket up at Beacon Rock for not having my discovery thing on. And I went up there, and what I did was I ran up there and I got some I paid for the thing. I just paid late, is what happened ultimately. I don't need to get in that part of it, but I was pulling something sneaky, and I'm not going to tell you I never. Now, God damn it, now that's not the fucking point. Now, I went to that court case, and I came up right up front because, I'm going to go take my whack at that court case. I'm taking the best shot at it because I had a prosecuting attorney as an attorney. I've had lots of attorneys, and I could just about figure out something somewhere along the line. I'm going to figure out that loophole that God's going to give me, And I come in there, and I'm sitting right here, and I could reach up, and I could pull the little thing open where you can walk through. And this old couple comes up, and they come in. A couple people's gone up. They're paying their ticket. They're paying their ticket. This old couple comes in, and they're like, they've been walking this here path up to Beacon Rock all these years for, like 50 or 60 years. They've been walking together, They don't know how many more years they're going to be walking this. They're pretty seasoned in their age. I opened up the thing, and I let them through there, and, the judges, yeah, you're here, He says, you've been, and this, and it was all something, he's like, he was going to cut these old people a break, and I admired him for doing it. I was sitting there, and it pleased me, and I'm sure it pleased God with that theory. So now I was listening to it, and all of a sudden they said something, and all of a sudden They said it was the woman's signature, and it's not the woman's signature. Is what they have is they have a stamp of somebody. So it's not a signature of the woman. It says that it's the signature, and when it's not the signature, it's a stamp. They got goddamn lazy. Instead of even taking the time to write the signature, they got so used to fucking just processing stuff, they used the Stamp Act on it. And boy, I tell you, when I started looking at that, listening to this, and by the time those old people got off the thing, I got called next. And I went up there and I went on and I looked at that thing and I brought this up to the thing and I said, this document like this, I said, but this isn't her signature. This is no more than a Stamp Act. This person got stamp happy on not just me, on all of us. And boy, I'll tell you, I got mine dismissed and everybody in that fucking room just roared because I just fucking pulled a rabbit out of the hat right in front of everybody. And I know that people that was in that room would remember there must have been, that room's it's a great big large room where you go to court right there for Beacon Rock, violations. I mean, it's right there. The courtroom's extra big compared to the other courtrooms I've been in down in Lewis County. There must have been like 50 people in there at least. And they were all brought up on the charges of the Beacon Rock ticket. So anyway, I won this big case in Beacon Rock, or over there on Stevenson. I marked my, territory there with this big win. Woo woo. But everybody won in that room, and that was the great part of that. That's the kick I got out of it. Not just my ticket was excused that day, but all their ticket was too. And those old people did too. And everybody was really happy. Oh, they were happy. Isn't that fun when Johnny brings the joy? A lot of times when I go down here to the river and stuff like this, I get inspiration. For years I've been calling it Johnny philosophy because goddamn, I didn't know what I was doing. But I was actually being inspired a little bit from time to time doing stuff that's just hilarious and outrageous, And I would take the time to do it. And I mean, I know I've made marks on people's life when they remember things that I've done, and I did it on purpose so they'd remember it forever, because you know what, a memory is worth just so much. I mean, when you could leave somebody with the most beautifulest memory for the rest of their life and they remember something, that's what it's about to me. I mean, when I come and help somebody, I've came and helped people and stuff before, and maybe you'll help somebody else out in the future is what I tell them. I said, remember, when you get old, you're going to be old too someday. And some people, they say terrible things about old people. I talked to somebody just yesterday down at the bank, and the lady, we started talking, and I never told her who I was or anything, and we just started talking. And it was Joan Jett. I was listening to Joan Jett right behind me, and I said, "Do you hear that music?" I thought she heard it. She goes, "I don't hear nothing." And I said, "Oh, well, there's music going on right behind me." I said, "Can you hear it now?" And after I pointed out, she's, yeah. And I said, "Well, that's Joan Jett." I said, "She's kind of like Elvis Presley, but she's in the female form, you know." And I told her, I said, I actually stood on stage, just off stage, just away from Joan Jett when she played music down there in Lewis County at the fair. And another person I also seen was Pat Benatar. I think, was that Pat Benatar? Joan Jett for sure. Pat Benatar was right there too. I didn't get to stand on stage. I heard Pat Benatar from outside, out there where people walk. I never even got inside, but I got to stand up there and be near Joan Jett, kind of. Well, I think Kathy was there, and she introduced Joan Jett, and I think I was there with my wife, to be honest with you. Thinking back on it, I mean, that's where I got my place, where I got to meet some people, is actually through my wife. I got to see people closer. So my wife was, a professional DJ, and I would say she's probably a type of a spokesmodel person, such as that. She was did some sports stuff with um, a professional person, a kickboxer, a Taibo expert, but Kathy's a bigger legend than that Billy Blanks is in my mind. Oh, Billy Blanks, Billy Banks, something. But anyway, I'm not jealous of him. Kathy got a good deal. She got to run around and do her thing. And my ex-wife got to go over to Cheers, the bar, you know, like on TV, Cheers bar over there in on the East Coast. And I thought that was really nice. She said, I got to go to the Cheers bar. And I heard her son singing about her mom being at the Cheers bar too, but that wasn't a very good song. And I'll always remember that boy and his mother. And, you know, things happen. It's very terrible things happen. And it leaves scars on our hearts, you know, each and every one of us. And I would say that, you know, through every great loss, we can either make it build something, a success on it, or we could just stay there in la la land. And a lot of people, when a tragic things happens to them, they decide to just step into their shell because their shell's a lot more comfortable to them than the real world, you know. They get shunned by the real world, they may pack on weight, you know, it's an addictive personality. A lot of people have addictive personalities, and you know, a lot of things that happen when you're in that type of thing, you know, I deal with people that are addicted to drugs, they have drug problems and stuff, and, you know, they need some help. And where the help is you're a fucking better person than these drugs have led you to be. These drugs have lied to you and made you think that you're going to be super duper all the time, when you were super duper a couple times and then it just ripped you apart and took you straight down. What's wrong with this? I felt good. And you just keep going down. Oh, if I just take some more, I'll be better. And it does work like that. And how about this one? Hey, Ann, when I get my paycheck, I go down and I buy my weed and stuff all the time. Man, I can buy everything. Oh, rent. Well, that's the last thing I'm going to be paying. Well, no, that's the first thing you should be paying, and you should be paying all of your bills and all your grocery bills and stuff too, and making sure your stuff is there. Now, if you got some extra money to go buy some weed and stuff, you better buy some weed. You better make it last. You better find a place where you're going to get a goddamn good deal, because you can't afford it. You need to pay your bills first, and once you pay your bills first and get a rhythm of paying your bills first, you will overcome this. I gotta buy my dope before I buy my responsibilities. Oh man, I gotta buy my dope because I have to be cool to all my friends, be the in thing. And man, the cops are fucking just loving that because you're buying their goddamn dope that they're supplying the dope dealers. And they don't care if you get fucked up on your rent and stuff, because soon they'll be over there evicting you and put you in fucking Runningsville and put you on the run for one reason or another. Am I right or am I wrong? And that does happen to a low-grade set of people that's in every town. Every town I've ever been to, I've seen the same shit. At different levels, some places really high levels, and some places, you know, you just see a little shit, but it's still remnants of it. What comes around goes around. And you know what? When you have the addictive personality, some of the problems is hey man, I smoke pot because pot doesn't let me down. I know exactly what I'm getting out of that joint. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with smoking pot. Smoking pot, I actually think, is a lot healthier than smoking a cigarette. And nobody should browbeat you for smoking pot just because they're goddamn criminals and they want to treat you like a criminal because you smoke pot, and they're actually goddamn criminals, and they're getting their dope from the cops and also supplying you. I mean, this could happen, or it's happening in a realm that way. people think that just because they're in such a position, like these here people that drive city trucks and stuff, Jesus Christ, all they have to do is pick up the phone and do a complaint because they're goddamn cop callers. You know, the other night there was somebody called the cop. The cops come down there, walk through the park, and they said they're walking the park, you know, running people out. I think they actually mentioned something like that. I was going to I started up and I shut it off, and I waited for him to come down. I said, well, I didn't want to act like I was doing something wrong. I told them my name. I told them I had my YouTube and stuff. I didn't tell them who the hell I was. Well, I told them I was D.B. Cooper's son. I just left it at that. They'll find out that D.B. Cooper's son was the Zodiac Killer's son, was the Holy Father's son. You see, I had to break it to everybody nice and easy. And like I say to people, you just be careful and everybody will be fine. You know, just be cool and everybody will be okay. Nobody will get hurt, just everybody be cool. You know, and that really just be cool because no one will get hurt. Keep your gun rights, keep everything. You know, God doesn't want to strip you of your gun rights and stuff like that. And He didn't send me to ruin your life either, by the way. If anything, He came to me to save you from the ruin of your life. And Donald J. Trump is the Antichrist. A through Z. A through Z. 1 through 26. 1 through 26. Look at Donald J. Trump, John Thomas Wright, the initials, and you'll find out that we're on a parallel. I'm supposed to be this president, he's supposed to be that president, or not a president, or whatever. But I've looked at it before and I could figure it out, and it don't take too long to look at before you'll figure it out too. There is a parallel between the two of us, and I guarantee you, I'm either the Son of God or I'm the Antichrist, and Donald Trump's having the problem, and I'm here with the Sharia woman, and the proof's in the pudding, and the saw's on Bowling Alley's property, and I'm after the Fairheart's bloodline. I'm wondering if the Sharia girl is the Fairheart's bloodline, and isn't that something that bloodline and this bloodline might have to marry to make a royal bloodline? And that's what I get from the Holy Father in this whole thing, you guys. In Revelations, there's supposed to be a marriage. I thought the marriage was supposed to be in heaven, but the heaven is right here, and I'll tell you a little bit about that grain of the mustard seed thing. I seen something. I went through visions and stuff, and I've seen Doubting Thomas, and I've seen a lot of different things happen back in 2014 during Revelations. I mean, some of the things that I seen in that house was just absolutely amazing. And you guys aren't me. You don't know what I lived through. You just don't know what I lived through. I wouldn't even tell my family what I lived through. I just wouldn't have told them. But now I know. You know, there was a storm down here. The storm was right here where I'm at. Just a few days ago. I see damage and stuff all over the place down there at the park. They've went down and marked all the trees and stuff. They're going to be removing trees because of the windstorm and stuff that went down through there. And, you know, pretty much when I seen it on the news report and I looked it up, right, the epicenter was right there, which I never doubted. Now, and by the way, now you look at the Walmart flood in Lewis County, I'm right there. Hey, how about the snowstorms in Morton? Well, I'm right there. And what happened? Someone triggered the event. So I don't like triggering the event on things. God can trigger the event himself and get me stirred up like bees. I don't goddamn need help. I mean, if God wants it to happen, he's going to make it happen. Whether I'm upset at Safeways and I go someplace else and I end up at the coffee shop and the woman says something to me and I identified with it, I got to get out of here. I told her, I said, I'm not ready for this morning. And you know, when I came back in and I seen that woman after the storm had already happened and stuff, and I just looked at her and said, sometimes I get up out of the wrong side of bed. And she says, sometimes I get out of the wrong side of bed too. Well, I never told her, well, sometimes I get out of, you know, somebody else. It didn't happen very often, but when it did, it was all right, you know. I mean, Jesus Christ, they had Robin and a few other ones. You know, I mean, geez, you know, we all get up and we put our pants on. Hey, we all got assholes and they're all dirty. Now don't tell me you don't have an asshole and it isn't dirty too. I mean, you're a saint. I know you can walk on water. I know you're a better person than me. And that without a doubt, I can say that because God used me. God uses trash like me. You see, you could be trash too. You could be the next piece of trash that God uses. Just think of it that way. How's that? And let's see, I always want to promote happiness, being the new world's heavyweight champion. I'll just leave. I'm not no heavyweight champion of nothing. I'm a I'm a friend of everybody's and I'm an enemy of nobody's. And I did not make that up. That was from someone else. That was from Gail L.H. Rebello. And she's the governor secretary of Washington State that came down and gambled with me down at the Lucky Eagle Casino. And she won money and she was happy that night when I was out there doing Viva Las Vegas. I mean, yeah, I was singing Viva Las Vegas. I sing Elvis Presley behind everyone's back. And I try to sing as good as I can for the Holy Father, which is not really as good as I'd like it to be. And I make fun and stuff of myself when I try to sing a view. You might hear me just sing a little bit good, but I really try to sing really good to God. And if I had a good girlfriend or a good wife and stuff like that, they're going to have to put up with me singing around them. Whether I'm good or not, maybe they'll hop in and sing too. Maybe they'll probably enjoy. I want a girl that can sing anyway or something. At least do something, hang out and have fun. Jesus, I don't want no stick in the mud, please. And the Sharia woman, you know what? I'm going to have to retrain this girl to have fun, fun, fun. You know, this girl's never going to be the same once I rip the cloth off her and find out what's under the cloth. But I will tell you this, you guys. I got up close enough to the Sharia woman to see her face through the garment stuff. And I seen her face, and I have, for one thing, I've got a photographic memory. When I look at something, I can remember it. I mean, I can remember things that I look at. And once I see somebody or something, I can remember it. And I seen inside of her eyes and stuff when she looked up like this, you know, that space opens up and I could see her face. And, you know, I could only see this or much of it, the cheeks and, you know, this. But that gives me a lot. I mean, right there on my facial recognition, computer software and stuff, right there I could pull up this chick's face and put it together. And boy, I'll tell you, I would surprise this woman if I pulled out a sketch of her tomorrow on the dock and I see, this is you under that sheet, baby. You know, isn't that funny? But I'm just telling you the truth. You could do anything you want with what I do. You know, the Holy Father's used me, and I'm happy to be here with you. You know, I'm always willing to work with people. I've always worked with people. When they have problems, they seem to come to me, and I've gave them good advice in the past. And if they didn't take my advice and they got screwed, they come back to me and they say, "Oh, I screwed up." I said, "Well, I guess you did because you wasted my time in the process, so don't waste my goddamn time," I tell them. And it angers me because they don't fucking do it. They've come to me, first they have their stick up their ass, and then, you know, then I tell them how to fix it, and they fucking won't do it. You know, here, you have to do the steps once you're told how to do them. Bam. Then you become a success, you know. Anyway, hey, all I'm saying is I'm working towards a better day all the time, and I'm thinking about moving towards Stevenson. I'm thinking about moving towards Cannon Beach. I do like this here area right here, and I'm also checking with not one, but except there's another person that has property here, and they don't, and I know they have property here, and I want to build a building on their property and pay them like $700 a month for a rent slip, you know? But right there on the rent slip, I'm just going to build a nice little building that's attractive, like an A-frame. It'll have one level coming up, and then the A's like this, and the top's there, and it has the attic up there. So the A's up here, and it's a nice cabin. My Uncle Ted had one similar to it, and and I also was inside of just the real square A when I was a kid, and the wall space and stuff. You don't want to go that route. You want to put the walls up about 64 inches and put it on, and then you want to put your doorways and stuff in, and it makes it into a nice cabin. And I also did custom designs in Nevada and stuff, and this is way bigger than a tiny home, and it's smaller than an actual big house. It's just the right building at the right time, and it's about the right price. See, I could be getting to this for like between $7,000 and $14,000. $7,000 and $14,000 is a very manageable thing to invest in. Now, I'm going to invest in about $14,000. I'll just go the top end, and I'll say it could go even $21,000 before it's over. Now, these are people, they're going to be nice enough to let me live there for maybe between 4 and 7 years, maybe 5 years. Let's just say it's 5 years. And at the end of 5 years, I'm moving out, and they can have that goddamn house. Now, doesn't that sound nice? Isn't that a deal? And by the way, I got what I wanted. I got to live in the house of my own. I got to do my thing. It made me fucking happy. And by the way, when I build that as a cabin, I could build that as a cabin any way I want without a foundation. And, I could put in a little foundation after the fact. I'll just pour one around everything the way I do things. I can do anything I want when I build. And I build really good for myself what I do. So anyway, have a great day. I'm looking forward to doing something anyway. I got to move forward, never move backwards. And I've got gold to process, gold pay dirt. And I want to go get more gold pay dirt too, by the way. I want a little mill running is what I want, a little gold mill. And I've got some little processing tools, and I think I got a few people that's interested in fetching out the gold in places that I prefer that some stuff comes out of. And we split it 50-50 on the thing, and you know what, if people want to get involved in it, a few people that I know around here that are not drug addicts would work fine, but you're going to be honest. Everyone's honest in my world. Because if they're not honest, they don't please me and they don't please God. And if I wasn't honest, it wouldn't please God. It wouldn't please no one else either. Everything works for the better. And it'll be a greater day. And a greater world. My name's John T. Wright. We've got our Sharia dog back. Good things do happen. I was just totally surprised after I went down there and I was doing my woman's, here I just call her my woman because I know what God put in my heart. Now, and I've talked to the woman too, and she knows my name. Although I don't know her name, I do know her name, I just don't know how to pronounce it. And, I think I'll see her on the dock tomorrow, and you know what? You just leave them alone and maybe they'll come home. And other than that, this woman may end up just being a dear friend, and this may be something symbolic, because I know God does things in symbolic things and makes things happen, but I think that it's actually more than that. I think that God brought us here for a marriage, and I don't want to disillude myself by saying it is or it isn't, but my strongest feeling is God's telling me that I'm going to be getting married. And I'm not too happy about getting married to anybody. If anybody knows me from the past, I swore off marriage. But this is like, if God put this together, me and my ex-wife, we had an experience where God came over us. Neither one of us could lie. You could look at your husband and try to lie, Kathy, but the truth is the truth. Now, Now, and now, the truth is the truth, just like I've been saying. Hey, anyway, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I've got a scar under my arm, the lady's seen right here. And you know what? If you want to see it so damn bad, you can come down here and see the scar too and meet me and find out. Everybody is happy once they meet me and talk to me and stuff like that. I mean, I have people that come down here and it's like they already know they're going to meet me. They already know I'm down here and they walk down here and I'll be on the other side of the rail and I was down there drinking a cold beverage. And there's some blackberries there, and I was standing over there. I was picking some blackberries. I don't think they seen that, but woman's seen me, and they smile and stuff, you know, or they'll talk to me, or they'll say hi, you know. I'm on the other side of the bars. I'm safe. I might go, oh, I've been barred, you know. I might say something funny, but I tell them, you know, my name's John T. Wright. I'm at YouTube and stuff, and actually some beautiful women came over there and talked to me, and, you know, and I told them, you know, I'm on YouTube and stuff, and boy, they look like they're starstruck. They're just beautiful women. They're just beautiful women. And, you know, I think every men and women and men, because you know what the thing I'm goddamn guilty of? Calling men and women, hey, you guys, have a nice day. No, these aren't guys, and this isn't a bathroom for one. You know, God tells me this is not a bathroom for one. I mean, God goddamn is pissed. You know, and what God wants me to say, ladies and gentlemen. You know, men and women. No, but it's ladies and gentlemen because it's women's first. God's telling me, hey, it's women's first, John. Don't you know goddamn anything? John, haven't you learned anything in life yet? You better make your wife first because she don't like becoming second. Now tell me, women, is there any women out there that really like becoming second? No. When you marry your husband, you want to be right there at the right-hand side of your husband. But I'll tell you what, your husband's right, and you are right, women. To be right there at the right-hand side of your husband, you just don't know which right side there is. The right side's on the left-hand side of him because your husband's supposed to go like this and go, honey, you just step right, you're behind me, and I'm going to protect you now because that's why you fucking married me. You married me because you needed somebody to be your person that protected you and loved you and honored you. And you give me that goddamn position because I fucking married you. And don't you goddamn think you're going to wear the fucking pants on the deal now. And by the way, I'm not dead yet. And by the way, I love you and I want to protect you and I want you behind me, honey. And you tell me if there's somebody coming up behind us too. Now, who am I going to have right here next to me? Well, I guess it's going to be my firstborn sitting at the table. Or it's going to be my business partner and my other partners and stuff like this. But I'm not going to be talking through my wife to my business partners and stuff, making money to the right of me. And this is where the Republicans come away on the right-hand side of the table. But I'm protecting my wife behind the left-hand side of me. Just like I got fucking married to her and don't fuck with me or my table or my family or my kids or my fucking business. Now, I'm sitting right here. I own the fucking position of I'm the number one fucking dog in the goddamn house. And this is for each and every one of our members of Americans out there too. The man's the dog of the house and the family. You married that woman, you bring her behind you. This woman has the right to talk to you and tell you the things that you need to know what's happening behind you. She is your eyes behind your fucking head, man. You are not the eyes behind her head, and you don't hide behind your women. Because I'll fucking walk right over there, push your woman out of the thing, and I'll beat you up. Don't you dare fucking send your woman out to fucking talk to me like my sister would stand up in front of Ernie. Ernie needs nobody to stand up in front of him. Ernie's got a bigger dick than most people I goddamn know. Matter of fact, one day Ernie comes to the hospital. Hello, doctor. What is it? Oh, Jesus Christ, what's going on? Oh, I can't even understand you. You know, this guy is just fucking, he's good size. I mean, he's not big, not little. And anyway, the doctor gives him a physical, Ernie, and Jesus Christ, he says, Ernie, he says, well, what's going on, Doc? He says, Jesus, Ernie, he says, you're the best guy I goddamn ever seen. Did anybody ever tell you you've got a goddamn dick that long? He says, yes. Oh, yes, my wife boasts about it all the time. He says, but, he says, well, what we're going to do, it's pulling on the larynx. He says, you got this strain on your voice. It's giving you this thing. He says, you're scaring the neighbors. You're scaring your wife. You're scaring the yeah, you're telling me everything, dog. Can you do something? Oh, yeah, I was just thinking about that. We're going to have to do a little resection here. We're just going to take we're going to snip out this little 5-inch section here. It's going to be it looks like a lot, but it's really not. We might have to go 5.5. I don't want to take 6. I just think 6 is just, but 5.5 looks good to me. Look good to you. What do you think? Well, Doc, let's just, do you need to think about, no, let's just do the chop job as soon as fast. And he goes ahead and he has this chop job done. And, he has to recover and stuff, and he comes in, within, 10 days, and he comes in and he says, man, doctor, my life has just changed. He says, man, he says, you wouldn't believe the neck pain and the residual effects I must have off of that weight, off that cock being there. Jesus Christ, he says, it feels like I lost 5 fucking pounds. He says, and he says, my voice is better. My wife loves me. It's just like she's got a new boyfriend. And that rib thing you did on the sew job where you did that rib thing. Oh, my wife just loves that. That's pleasure in its own. Dr. Cook, Thomas Cook, from Lewis County there, a good friend of mine, performed the actual surgery. And so anyway, Dr. Cook's standing there, and, and Dr. Cook, he's married to Cindy and everything. And finally, Ernie says, but doctor, he says, he says, I'm so much better and stuff now. He says, but, he says, me and my wife would kind of like to have it back. Maybe we'll pickle it or hang it from the mantle of the, over the fireplace, for a conversation piece, if nothing else. My wife just, she used to boast about how big it is, but it's still happy for her. And he says, well, can you, or he says, well, can you get that for me? And Dr. Cook says, well, I think it's hanging around here somewhere. So, anyway, you just never know what you're going to get when you go to the doctor's office, and you better be happy with what you've got. And other than that, that was one good surgery that turned out for everyone at the end of the day, because Ernie was happy and Dr. Cook was swell. And anyway, most of us, if we didn't have the Holy Father and the Lord, we'd all go to hell. Now, look, we have to accept things for what they are and not for what they're not. And I just want to talk to you. Maybe you get like this, maybe you won't, but I'm just saying that you just never knew what we were going to get when you got me. Here, the Holy Father wants you to be saved. He didn't want you to go to hell. He didn't want you to die for your sins, so he sent the Lord to die for your sins. I've been punished for so goddamn long in hell. I know that I was told, you came from hell and I'm going to send you back where you came from. And this was evil people that did not want their time to end here on earth. And I had the Holy Father shake the Bible in my hand and have the key fall out into my pocket. It was like a 1/2 inch thick. It was shaped like a house. It was an ornament that was on a keychain, with a key, to a guitar shop downtown. And I'll tell you, I took that key and I walked down to the mill, and the water was right there, and I said, my exact words was, anything worth having is worth working for. And I threw it with this hand right here, and I threw it and it landed right in the water. It went right underneath that mill, And the gates of hell opened, and all the demons in hell came out, and whatever. I mean, I'm telling you, I know it happened, and I seen the Lord come, and I seen destruction on the earth, and I seen things happen inside that house with dirt, a stick, lines on the floor. This was supposed to be destruction symbolic, I'm sure, and that's why I say a lot of things are symbolic, and even this woman could be symbolic, and she is my idol. Isn't that funny? American Idol. Love American style. And if the Sharia woman sees this, hey, you know what? Me and you could actually be a great power couple. And I know that she is a beautiful woman underneath of that. And no matter what she looks like, she's going to look beautiful to me, because whatever God puts together, God wanted together. And if God wants me to be kind and loving to this woman, I will be kind and loving to this woman. But I guarantee you, any woman that I'm with, I am kind and loving and open with and honest and cherish like they were my wife. You sleep with a woman, you treat her like you're her wife, no matter how long you're with her. If it's only for a week or whether it's 25 years or 50 years, it doesn't goddamn matter. It should be an honor and a privilege to be with another person and to share time with them and have that person actually want to be with you instead of being forced with you. All women should have rights, and men should have rights too, and no one should be forced to be with somebody they don't want to be with. And anyway, you guys have a nice day, and I've been forced like that, and I don't want you to be forced like that either. My name's John T. Wright, and I'm just telling you the truth. And I am the Son of God, no matter what somebody says. If I get angered and pissed off at things, bad things can happen to good people and bad people. God does not have He is not prejudiced. He will take out anybody He wants for His own happiness. And that's why I say over there in the Middle East, Sodom and Gomorrah, Lebanon, and Iran, God Almighty's angered. Syria, Yemen, Russia is pushed back. I goddamn know it. I don't need to look at the news. I know things are terrible. And Donald Trump is doing exactly what I said all along. He's crumbling, Ernie. He's doing exactly. And I know it's hard to, say, well, I guess John was wrong. Or no, I guess John was right. You'd like to say John's wrong. Oh, Donald Trump's our God. Donald Trump is not your God, and if he is your God, you're going straight to hell with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the Antichrist, and all of his little demons are going straight to hell with them. And if you're a demon of Donald Trump's, guess what? It's D-Day. My name's John T. Wright, and you're not, and I'm the Lord, and my God is God. And this woman's God, the Sharia woman, her God is God. Her God is my God, and our God is God. There's only one God. And that is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me, God, and I will say blessing for her too, because I love her, because the Holy Father has led me to this woman. And God bless the women that I see on Chatterbait, because they make me so happy, and I hope it drives her just nuts. And I love you guys, and boy, this is how I do the power play. Good day, and I hope to see you in the future real soon, and I love you all. Bye-bye.